CH&PA has had a very interesting year for 2016, a year full of challenges, a year that I think was a very decisive year for us. And with my appointment as minister within this ministry, with effect from the 1st of January 2016, my first day coming into office, I made a decision that the image of CH&PA, first of all, would be changed. The perceptions of the people of Guyana of CH&PA would be changed, and the perception of the staff of CH&PA, of the people of Guyana, would be changed. And I believe that once that happened, we'll certainly have improved service to the people. And one of the things I said to the staff from day one, we are servants of the people of Guyana. So with that in mind, I immediately met with the management and we refashioned the program for 2016 for CH&PA. So what I'll endeavor to do this morning is just to share with you what accomplishments we've had, what challenges we've had for 2016, and how we plan to move forward for 2017. I would start with the overview of projects completed and expenditure for CH&PA. The sum of $5.8 billion was budgeted for the year 2016 to be spent from the CH&PA Housing Fund. And let me just re-emphasize, we did not receive monies for 2016 and the same for 2017 from the National Treasury. CH&PA, through its housing fund, executed works for 2016, and we are going to do the same for 2017. So projected $5.2 billion of this sum identified to fund CH&PA infrastructural investments and housing construction program, which include the following projects: installation of electrical distribution network within 16 areas. And those areas are in Region 3, Lost and Russ, Zealot, Phase 2 and 3. I'm going to provide a copy of this report for each of you. Region 4, in Perseverance, Peters Hall, Farm Phase 1 and 2, Covent Garden and Paradise, Enmore, Barnwell, and the new commercial industrial sites at Diamond and Eccles. Region 5, Hope, Experiment, and Balti Rock. Region 6, Kilcoy, Chesney. Region 7, 5 Miles, Bartica. Construction of turnkey houses at Perseverance, and this was a hot spot in 2016, and I know the entire media was questioning what's happening at the turnkey site. Construction of turnkey houses at Perseverance and infrastructure upgrading works within existing housing areas and development works in new areas, rollover contracts and off-site investments to facilitate development works by private developers. This is how we planned to spend the $5.2 billion. This projected sum also included the externally funded program, that's the Government of Guyana, IDB, Sustainable Housing in the Hinterland program, which was approved in June of 2016. However, as of December 2016, the total capital expenditure stands at $688.4 million, which represents 12% of the budgeted sum, while current expenditure stands at 414.2, and current revenue at 67.8 million. You would know, based on what I said was budgeted, that we have not done well in that regard. And there are some reasons for that. And I say to you that we have dealt with those challenges, and 2017 will see every cent budgeted being spent. Infrastructural investments. Continuation of works on 77 rollover contracts. 45 contracts completed for 30 areas in regions 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Development of new areas and upgrading of existing areas. No new housing area was developed nor upgraded works completed within existing areas. Since decisions to develop new areas or the prioritizing of existing areas for upgrading ought to be informed through a process of feasibility assessment that is supported by current, comprehensive, and accurate data financial information for each housing area. The field data collection exercise was only completed in November of last year. The data entry and verification exercise is still in progress. Now, let me just take a little time to explain here that one of the reasons why the infrastructural works that were planned for 2016 was not achieved, because as I said, coming into the ministry in January, you had these grandiose plans, only to find out that information, data that is so necessary to inform decision making was absent. And we now had to go out into the fields and do surveys. We had to go into each housing area to see what actually had to be done, and now put that information together. So for 2017, we have a comprehensive infrastructural program which we are certain will bring development to the schemes that we're going to do the work. Installation of electrical infrastructure in 16 areas, the areas that I gave before. Those areas we have already tendered to the end of November 2016, and we are going to complete this work by March of 2017. All 16 areas mentioned will receive electricity by the end of March 2017. Allocation of land. For 2016, a total of 2,015 house lots were allocated. This achievement is more than 100% of annual target of 1,000 allocations. So over the 5 years, there is a target of 1,000 house lots, but in 2016 we've surpassed that, and we've actually allocated 2,015 house lots. Also, 221 regularized quarters receive allocation letters of the target of 400 that we had set. Special arrangements were put in place to facilitate allocations of house lots to our policemen and women. And you would have known that the minister and her team went to Leonora in Region 3, Fort Wellington in Region 5, and Albion in Region 6, and did direct allocations to policemen and women. The Jubilee payment plan, which was, I consider, the most exciting activity for 2016. Between the months of March to May, several persons benefited from the Jubilee payment plan, where 2,881 applicants benefited from the plan, paying a total of 590 million Guyana dollars into the agency and also receiving a discount of the same amount. Of the 2,881 beneficiaries, 7 were of very low income, and those are people who bought house lots for $59,000. 215 were low income, that's house lots between the price of $92,000 to $150,000. Moderate income, 524 persons benefited, and that's between $150,000 to $500,000. Middle income, 1,440 persons benefited, and that's between $500,000 to $1.2 million price range. And for the high income, 695 persons benefited, and those are for house lots above 1.2 million. Then we had a Jubilee home improvement subsidy in recognition of Guyana's 50th anniversary year of independence. The Ministry of Communities, and more particularly CH&PA, announced the distribution of 300 home improvement subsidies. The 50th anniversary year home improvement subsidy provided to households to improve their homes. The program offered beneficiaries a maximum of $50,000 worth in building materials. It was paid in the form of a voucher, redeemable at several businesses around the regions, and that was to improve works in their existing homes. Beneficiaries were drawn from regions 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, and 10. Regions 5 and 8 were absent. 5 more particularly because the response was very poor. We only had 4 persons responded, and those 4 persons did not qualify. Region 8, we do not have any existing housing arrangements there. Outreaches, the minister and team met with persons in several areas. Let me first deal with the youth policy. In February of 2016, my 2016 presentation, I alluded to the fact that there are a number of things that 18-year-olds can do legally, and one of the things that they could not do was apply for a house lot. So during the months of September, October, November, I embarked on a number of consultations around the country to garner the views of the public. Consultations were held in Annandale, Anna Regina, Belladrum, Bartica, Linden, New Amsterdam, Rose Hall, Diamond, and Georgetown, Central Georgetown. The public was overwhelming in their support of changing the minimum age requirement from 21 years to 18 years. For those who have proven and are capable of acquiring a housing solution. So when I say housing solution, it means that a person can qualify for a house lot or a housing unit. And I'll talk a little bit more about the units just now. So the decision of CH&PA is that applications at 18 years with allocation at 21, which gives that young person enough time to build their credibility with a financial institution, or they can save their own monies or what have you in preparation for the 21 years allocation. Additionally, visits were made to several other areas, including Anna Regina, Lima Sands in Region 2. In Region 3, visits were done at Parfait Harmony, Zeeburg, Tushin, Zeelot, and all the other communities along there. In Region 4, Perseverance, Sophia, East and West Rumveld, Cummins Lodge, Paradise, and Dutch 4. Fort Wellington in Region 5, New Amsterdam, Rosal, number 76 and 77 Corriverton in Region 6, Bartica in Region 7, Letham and Parishara in Region 9, Linden, Ituni, and Kukwani in Region 10. Including a number of public days right here at the Brigdam office. Every Wednesday was assigned to the public. And let me say this, even though Wednesdays were assigned as public days, every day at this ministry ended up as a public day. Because persons came every day. Meetings and interactions were done. We were able to listen directly to the issues that the public would raise and resolve those matters wherever possible. Coming back to the Turnkey project, 99 of the 141 houses were completed. Remedial works were also completed on 70 houses. So we now have a total of 160 families comfortably housed at Perseverance Turnkey project. For land titles, as of December 2016, a total of 4,803 certificates of titles and transports were issued. And that is a remarkable number, and I want to take time off to commend Senior Counsel, I think she's now Senior Counsel Rosalie Robertson, and her team at the Deeds Registry. Their effort has contributed greatly into this increase in distribution or issuance of titles. Housing policy development and reform. The government of Guyana has initiated measures to improve the current housing delivery system to ensure that the work of the Central Housing and Planning Authority be guided and supported by evidence-based housing policy development and reform. During the year 2016, CH&PA, in collaboration with UN Habitat, through funding from UNDP, completed a housing profile study for Guyana. The housing profile will be used as a basis to develop a national housing strategy for Guyana, and we hope to have this strategy completed by the end of 2017. Government of Guyana IDB sustainable housing in the hinterland. Although the CH&PA did not start the construction of 17 houses at Whitewater, Sibai, Katamang, Katoka, Masaro, and the replacements of 15 roofs at Katamang, Katoka, and Masaro as planned for this year, the agency made great progress with respect to shortlisting and mobilizing beneficiaries for the housing intervention and procuring of materials. This project we hope to commence during the first quarter of 2017. Impact on communities. Coastal communities, if we look at that first, with respect to the impact of our program activities, the most notable achievement is with the 1,000 home project at Perseverance. Since 160 families were able to access their homes and were satisfied with the quality of work done, particularly those for which remedial works had to be done on their houses. And you would know the beginning of this year, we only had 59 of the houses allocated, and 141 were incomplete. And so we had to do remedial work on all 59, and that was done. And I can safely say 160 families are now happy. Hinterland communities. With respect to the Hinterland Housing Initiative, the mobilization of beneficiaries ensures that these indigenous families were given a voice in the type of houses they desire. Also, the procurement of material was done in collaboration with the village councils, ensuring that the necessary stakeholders were involved in the process. This IDB Government of Guyana project, even though it was invested, the responsibility was invested in CH&PA, we didn't just decide as to what type of house we're going to give the people. They were fully involved into the type of houses that they want. Many of them opted for the zinc roof as in place of the thatch roof. And one of the reasons for that is that they can now put the water tank on the roof to facilitate them having water. Overview of CH&PA medium-term strategy. The 2017 budget proposals were prepared within the framework of CH&PA's medium-term strategy, which is embodied in its Housing Plan of Action 2016 to 2020. The main thrust of the agency's strategy within this plan of action is to, 1, place emphasis on CH&PA planning function with respect to settlement development and land use control and management. 2, refocus in accordance with its legislative mandate on low-income earners, state employees, and youth. So those are the 3 main categories we're targeting for 2017. Number 3, enhance collaboration with the local democratic organs in the land development and upgrading process. And 4, enhance public participation in the housing and community development process. I can say in 2017, we're going to have much more collaboration with communities, much more public hearings, forums, and more collaboration in the regions with the LDOs. In this regard, the CH&PA would seek to improve the housing delivery system by pursuing a range of settlement development initiatives, which includes construction of various housing solutions for low-income households through partnership with the private sector and civil service organizations. Secondly, implementation of an integrated and comprehensive approach in the planning and design of settlements and the regularization of squatting areas. Under this heading, the main challenge in this program is the transfer of lands from Gaisuku to the government through CH&PA. This affects the completion or final recording of our plans. Notwithstanding, 21 areas will be regularized in 2017 with a total of 1,852 lots being made available for regularized housing. Enhancement, number 3, of the beneficiary selection process through policy review with an emphasis on low-income earners. Number 4, collaboration with LDOs to provide adequate community facilities and basic services. 5, consolidation of selected existing housing and regularized squatting areas that are deemed critical for intervention through the application of appropriate criteria. And the final one under this heading, enhancement of the community participation process. We've planned to have in every housing area community participation, where we encourage the people in that particular scheme to come together and to look into their interests and enhance their community. The trust to give prominence to planning, awareness, and renewed interest at national, regional, and local levels is critical to the work of CH&PA. In this regard, a national planning forum will be held during the first quarter of 2017 with major stakeholders to initiate dialogue and action to enhance the current fragmented planning framework. Also, as mandated under the Town and Country Planning Act, the CH&PA will initiate and support the preparation of development schemes in collaboration with the LDOs and other key stakeholders to set out objectives and policies to guide the growth and development of communities, whether urban, rural, regional, or other areas. This process will give clout to the enforcement aspect as a planning control activities. Let me just go back. This process will give clout to the enforcement aspect as a planning control activities. In this regard, the enforcement arm of the CH&PA will have to be strengthened with the recruitment of additional enforcement officers to boost CH&PA planning function. CH&PA has an enforcement arm, and we're facing major challenges, particularly in squatter settlements. When our officers go on the ground to keep order, they're being threatened with cutlass and guns and all sorts of things. And in many cases, they have to retreat. But CH&PA has to bring order to our housing areas, and therefore, we recognize that we have to boost that department so that we can better able to perform our duties. Another key area of the budget proposal will be the consolidation of selected existing housing areas and regularized squatting areas, and focusing primarily on the development of low-income settlements. We have quite a number of low-income settlements across Guyana, and particularly in Region 4. And I would have said through my discourse throughout the year, of major concern is Sophia, East and West, Rumwell. And there are lots of communities along the East Coast and the East Bank. I've recognized that some of these persons have applications in our system, and so one of our projections is to pay attention to those people. Second,